Hey y'all. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Hold on. Hello everybody. Hello everybody. Don't mind me. Hey Barbara. Let me add you on. Hey Barbara.
Hey, so now how do I turn off my camera for, I thought this was just an audio. Is that not true?
That was a live conversation.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, you know what? It's so funny because I had spoken to Shan, and I'm like, Shan, is it a live conversation or what is? She's like, Barb, no, it is just you just jumping on a call with her. So yeah, that wasn't the right information. So not quite as prettied up as I would normally be. And it's funny, I was going to double check with her today. So that's like kind of,
Oh gosh.
it is what it is, right?
Well, happy to see your beautiful face.
So, yeah, so you got my whole face. We're going to have fun anyway.
Yes, we are. I'm excited to have you on here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it is such a pleasure. So I want to do an intro to everyone that's coming in. Thank you for all coming in today. I'm gonna introduce myself. For those might be the first time, for others maybe more than once for others. But I'm Tiana Goodwin, and everybody knows me as T. I am the host and creator of Purposely Bossin Up podcast, and this is just a platform that I utilize to let my listeners know that they can unveil their inner boss. People don't understand that we're not just bosses in business, but we also have to be bosses in life. And we have to make executive decisions that will obviously deter or, dictate how the rest of our life will go. So, you are always in a boss mindset at all times.
Always.
All the time.
Always.
And I'm just so excited to have you on here. I wanted to keep my viewers, but listeners still engaged while I prepare for my third season, which launches in the fall. And I said,
That's awesome.
start, these little IG lives, and I'm gonna see how this goes. So June came and everybody booked a slot, and then I still had people reaching out to me. So I said, I'm gonna continue on in July. So I'm booked up June and July. August, I need a break. I gotta prepare for season 3. I gotta get all the goodness in season 3 for the podcast.
Okay.
So I'm excited to have you on here today. I'm gonna shout out our sponsor. Our sponsor for our IG live today is Ferran Noble. Is a custom footwear line, and they are ushering in the changing of the guard in the fashion footwear industry. Ferran Noble blends the uniqueness of Fashion Week runways and classic comfortability in the midst of an urban backdrop. So if anybody wants to look at the sneakers, there's some cute sneakers coming in different colors, everything, please click the link in my bio. But let's get into this conversation. We have you now, Barb. We had Barbara on today. She's beautiful, she wasn't really expecting all of this, but she's here.
Right?
She's here.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to have her on here today. She is actually an active wear design expert, and she's also an entrepreneur. She has this bomb line of doggy treat, y'all. Pretty doggy treat, y'all, called Lick You Silly. Okay.
Yeah, make you silly.
And before Barbie even got into all this treat stuff, she was out here designing some real deal stuff, y'all. Like,
And I still am.
see, look, and she, okay. So she has worked with amazing people like Nike Europe, Everlast, Speedo, Hanes, Adidas, and the list can go, of course, on and on and on. And she was also the former design director for Venus Williams. Y'all know we love the Williams sisters.
We do.
We love the Williams sisters. but you were doing it and you're still doing it. And I cannot wait to get into this conversation because I'm trying to figure out how you do it all.
Well, I've been doing it for a really long time. And, you know, my journey, you know what the crazy thing was? It was funny because, you know, I was going over the information that you sent me earlier, and, you know, and I said, gosh, you know, this journey wasn't planned. Mm-hmm. It really wasn't. It really just started from me in college and having an opportunity, you know, with my senior show, you know, because you know, when you're in a design school, you know, whether it's fashion or graphics or what have you, there is a design opportunity when you're a senior to present your work, right? Mm-hmm. And I had decided I am not moving home to Virginia. That was just, I'm like, I'm done. I worked hard to get to New York, and I am not moving home to Virginia. And so, you know, I got offered a job from Ralph Lauren. Wow. And also Adidas. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to work with Ralph Lauren, but he wasn't paying any money. I was like, dude, you're paying like... I'm like, you're paying like $35,000. I'm like, I was just a student. I can't live off that kind of money in New York City. I was like, isn't that below poverty? So, so I ended up taking the position with Adidas. You know, that's how it's technically pronounced because mm-hmm. it's a person's name. Mm. It's Adi Dassler, and it's shortened as for Adidas.
I never knew that.
And here's something else I know. This is a little bit off subject, but I love to share this story. Is that, you know, Adidas was started by two brothers, the mm-hmm. Dassler brothers, right? It's a family business. Okay. And they had a huge falling out. So Adi Dassler that brother stayed with Adidas, mm-hmm. and the other brother started Puma. So in Herzogenaurach, Germany, where Adidas that's their headquarters, and Herzogenaurach is a really small German city, but it's got these two huge companies that are literally down the street from one another. So
crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
I was actually doing some media coverage for, her name is Kiki Smott, and she is the founder and creator of Curvy Fashion Week in New York. And she has a brand also called Curvy Revolution. So we were there for an event, in media, podcasts, and on the carpet and all that good stuff. And the founder of Fashion to Figure was there. So he was telling us, you know, the backstory about who his grandmother was. His grandmother was Lane Bryant. And
what?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Crazy. So he's like telling us about how, you know, he was always in the industry. Like it's through the family line. But then he was saying him and his brother were, you know, business partners or whatever, and then his brother decided that, you know, he didn't want to, I guess, do fashion with him anymore. So then he creates another fashion line. But now I'm like, what, y'all competing against each other now? Like, it's crazy. And I was like, wow, you just never know somebody's backstory.
Yeah. The backstory is everything, and that was always been one that fascinated me. I mean, I'm sure there's tons out there, but that's always fascinated me. So yeah, I ended up taking this job with Adidas, and I worked in their office, and I didn't know anything about activewear because this was like the 80s, right? I graduated in dating myself, but I graduated in 85 from Pratt in Brooklyn, and so, you know, they offered me this job, and I was like, well, they paid more money than Ralph Lauren.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to take this. And, you know, I met who is now my husband. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to take this. And I don't know where it's going to lead. I don't even like activewear. As a matter of fact, I don't even know what activewear was. Like, it was so new. Like Jack LaLanne was like our idea of activewear.
That's crazy.
And the 20-minute workout, you know, when the girls would wear like those leotards that are really high up on their hips and with the big hair and the belts and stuff like that. Like, that was my idea of activewear. And so I went to work for them in New Jersey, and probably like I started designing a lot of product that was making a ton of money for them, right? Wow. And you know, so probably like a year and a half into it, so my boss came to me and he's like, Barb, we're closing the office down. And I was like, okay, great. And he said, we have one design position in Fontainebleau, France that I want to offer to you. And I was like, Fontainebleau, France. Wait a
Right.
second. Like, okay, I failed French in high school with a 69. So it was never in my cards to to be able to live in France. So, you know, I came home, and at that point I was married. So I came home and I was talking to my husband, and I'm like, you know, yeah, they offered me this position in Fontainebleau, France, and you know, they were paying, they doubled my salary, and they offered me all of these perks. Like, they gave me every reason not to say no,
Wow.
including giving my husband his working papers.
Wow.
So they made it, because he's a civil engineer. So they made it really hard to say no. So I'm like, all right, great, we're going. And we ended up moving to France for probably about 18 months.
Mm.
And it was a life-changing experience. So, you know, we lived in the Fontainebleau Hotel, which is right across the street where Josephine had her castle, and it was beautiful. And our office was the horse stable. Adidas's office was the horse stable of a chateau that they filmed a lot of movies.
Okay.
So it was stunning. So you
Oh,
open up, and they renovated the horse chateau. They renovated the horse stable,
right.
but you know, we had our own swimming pool, and you know, we had our private tennis courts, and we had a chef, and it was literally like 37 people that worked in that office. So it was very small, and you know, just forged some fantastic relationships. I mean, people I'm still in contact with now. You
Oh my.
know, just forged some great relationships, and that was really how I became a consultant. So after I was in France for like 18 months, you know, my boss was like, okay, Barb, we're moving to Germany. And I'm like, my husband was like, I'm going home. And I'm like, okay. So I ended up going to France for like 3 months. And then he said, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to go home and find a job, because I'm thinking that's what everybody does. And he's like, no, I think, you know, I would love to consider you as staying on as a consultant.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, what does a consultant do?
Right.
And he's like, well, you do the same work that you have from home. He said, you do the same work that you do every day, except you get to do it from home. And I'm
Right.
like, wait, and I get paid the same? He's like, yeah, none of that changes. I was like, well, wait a second. I'm like, you know, like, I'm waiting, like, there's a hook. I know there's something here. There's a hook. But there wasn't a hook. And I ended up staying there. I consulted for like 5 years,
Wow.
traveling back to Germany. That was my commute. So I traveled back and forth to Germany, and then I got a little tired of the travel, and got pregnant. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. So until one of my old product managers from France said, you know, hey, Barb, I'm living in Italy now, and I'm working for Fila, and I want you to come and be my design director. And I'm like, okay, how much is it paying?
Right. What's the points looking like?
So yeah, so I ended up working for him in Biella, Italy for like 2.5 years, and then traveled back and forth there, and from there I just started working with Nike and, you know, New Balance and Asics, and then I got really tired of the travel, and I said I need to stay put, and I became design director for Walmart's 6 activewear divisions.
Wow.
So that was a huge responsibility, because we were
It,
managing, it was like a $700 million business. It was
it's
a lot of money.
oh my God.
Yeah.
But that is amazing. And only imagine, you know, all the people that you've met, all the places you've been, you know, and one of the things that I do talk about on my podcast is, did you do you feel that you had a challenge that may have come across, you know, somewhere in your path that may have almost even deterred you from achieving your goals?
I don't know. You know, sometimes, you know what? I almost operate out of ignorance sometimes. You know, it's like I can't worry about what other people are doing. I can't worry about, you know, competing with others. I just try to always stay in a really positive place. Like, there are toxic people in my life. You know, I surround myself with incredible friends, and, you know, I have a wonderful husband who's very supportive, and you know, I don't think that I really hit, I was almost too ignorant to realize that, you know what I mean? Like, I worked in the garment district in New York City, and, you know, it was, I just felt like people truly judge me
Okay.
based on what I had achieved. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like I really came to the table like feeling like I had something significant to bring. So I didn't really focus on what I didn't have. And I mean, yeah, I wish more doors would have been open for me. I wish more opportunities would have been open for me, but I can't say I miss anything, you know? I mean, I have been, you know, in the garment district, unfortunately, there's always people who aren't trustworthy. You know, they give their word for things that they're going to promise to pay, but then for whatever reason, no matter how many contracts you have, they don't do it. So, I mean, I've had some scenarios like that, but, you know, all in all, I mean, I feel like I've had a very uh, rich career, and I've enjoyed the journey. I truly have enjoyed the journey.
That is awesome. So, you know, during the course of you, you know, from beginning to even end, you have any, you know, mentors or role models that you look up to, you know, and did it change over the years?
Yeah. So when I first started, so I've always wanted to be a fashion designer. You know, growing up in Virginia, you know, my mother, she had two pennies to rub together, right? But I'm like, I'm going to New York and I'm going to Pratt. Like I was so convicted that that's what I'm gonna do. Had no idea how my mother was paying for it. I didn't even think about the price of Pratt. All I knew I was gonna go. So short of me saying, "Mom, figure it out." Of course, I would never say that. But you know, and the funny thing is, like my first year that I applied for Pratt, I didn't get in,
Wow.
and I was devastated. And I said, "All right, well, let me go to a community college, right?" So I went to community college. I took all these liberal arts, and then I applied to go to Pratt the following year, and I got in.
Mm.
So because I took those liberal arts, I didn't have to pay Pratt's prices for those classes, and I got my Fridays free for 4 years. I only have four. I was a full-time student, but I only had classes for 4 days. But that allowed me the freedom to be able to truly focus on what it was I wanted to accomplish in terms of my work, in terms of, you know, being able to set myself apart. And I worked really hard to do that. Like I'm so dedicated and committed. When I make my mind up, I'm going to do something, it's going down. It just is, right? um, and I truly follow through with what I say that I'm going to do. So yeah, I mean, in terms of mentors, I had mentors when I was in high school. I went to a high school that actually was for the gifted, right? I went to IC Norcom High School in Portsmouth, Virginia, and so they had a fashion design program, and so the teacher, she became a mentor of mine right up until college, and we stayed in contact. And then when I got to college, my fashion design teacher became my mentor, and I ended up getting married at her house. Like we became such great friends. I got married at her house, and then we still stay in contact until this day. I mean, I graduated from college over 20 years ago, right? And but in terms of having like a mentor, so to your point, yes, my mentor has changed. Um, and I can't, like, I'll hire coaches to work with me. Like I just hired a coach for my Amazon business. So I'll hire coaches to work with me. But I can't say I have that person who has taken me under their wing and
Mm.
said, okay, so Barb, here's what you should do. And here's what you do. Oh, I know a guy this. And then you call this person. Like I haven't had that. But what I created for myself is almost like a personal board.
Okay.
Like you know, yeah, businesses have board members. I have a personal board, and they consist of people that are in various facets of the business,
Mhm.
of business, not the business as in fashion, but in various facets of business that I call on for various things. And so that is really how I get my mentorship.
That's awesome. That is,
I
it's
think everybody should have a personal board.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I 100%. And
yeah,
it's good to just build those relationships because, like you said, like you got married at your mentors, you know, her house, use their home for your wedding, and like
yeah.
to have those kind of relationships. I still have relationships with my old elementary school teachers, and
Mhm.
over 20 years ago. So,
Right.
like, just having those people in my circle, you know, I can call them when I need. when, you know, it's just so good to just have those positive people in your life.
Yeah. And they're like your cheerleaders,
Yeah.
right? You like surround yourself with people who support you, that you can call, and when you're having a tough day, you know, I've got some incredible girlfriends in my life that I can call on them, good, bad, or indifferent. You know, like we don't judge one another because everybody goes through something,
Yeah.
right? You gotta get those toxic people out of your life, and you gotta align yourself with people who bring you joy,
Yeah.
you know, and want to see you win.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. So I know you get busy and you have a family. So how are you able to, I guess, kind of build, even though we know balance kind of technically really don't exist,
Mhm.
but how did you create that balance? So, you know, you had not equal time, but, you know, you had the time for work and then you had time for your family.
Mhm. So, you know, my balance is, it was a little it was a little challenging when my daughter was younger. My daughter's 24 now, so it's different. And you know, I mean, I would just make time. You know, I would just have to schedule my work day like a work day, like 9 to 5. Or if I was working on a project that required more time, I would just say to my family, "Look, I've got this project. I got to get through this deadline, and when we're done, then you know we can do something together, or we can take a trip, or you know we can sit down and watch movies and that sort of thing." You know, the great thing about the interesting thing, I can't even say great because this COVID experience has been horrible for all of us. But it really has allowed me to really figure out what's important to me.
Hmm.
So I use this time to certainly, because I'm a workaholic by nature, but it doesn't feel like work because I love what I do.
Right.
You know, and so we just decided, you know, since nobody was eating out, right? So 7 o'clock, I'd stop what I'm doing and I would prepare dinner. And then at 8 o'clock, we would just go to our family room and we would sit down and we would watch a movie together.
Yes.
And I enjoyed that. I loved having that connection. And it was like we had to schedule it. You know,
Yeah.
my husband, he was still working. You know, he does bridge inspections, but he was still working, and it was just really important that I figure out how to connect with my family. And even when my daughter was younger, you know, we get a babysitter, and
Right.
we'd have date night. Like you have to schedule it. I mean, as crazy as that sounds, you have to schedule in that time. You know.
That's good that you were able to, you know, like you said, like when you was younger, you were better, and you and hubby would have date nights. Even sometimes, even if you don't decide to go, let's say you had a bad day, you might dial up or something, you know, and had dinner.
Right.
You know, you'll find time to do what you want to do. I tell people that you'll find time.
You find people will find time for what's important to them.
Absolutely.
Right. That's exactly right.
Lord, these people nowadays. So, how did you get into these dog treats? How did you come up with this whole new brand? Silly.
So, you know, I've always loved dogs, and I always love creating new brands because, you know, what I do as a designer for these companies that I work with is I oftentimes people will call in a consultant, you know, when they want something fresh or when there's some type of a crisis, you know, and they need it to be managed. So, oftentimes when I was called in, it was because it was some sense of urgency, right? And so, you know, it wasn't just about designing the apparel, but it was also about like, what are all of these other ancillary things that have to go along with, you know, when you're introducing a new product category, even new product and things like that. And so, you know, over that course, I just fell in love with brand building and starting brands. And it just never, it wasn't something that I was afraid of. And so when I was working with Venus, you know, when you work with someone of that success, of that caliber, you learn a lot from them. And, you know, she always made it look so easy. And part of that was, you know, she would say to me, you know, I surround myself with really talented people like yourself. And I'm like, okay, I get that. Right. And so I've always kind of had that in the back of my mind. And so while I was working with her, you know, I had two small Yorkies, and I said, they're so little. My Yorkie is like a pound. And my other Yorkie, she passed away, I think almost 2 years ago now. But so my little guy, he can't eat anything. Like whatever you give him, the store bought, he puked it up. And I'm like, nobody wants to clean up puke. I can assure you that. So, so, so anyway, I would like bake treats for him because that was really the only way I could really give him like a little treat, and you know. So I was baking these treats, and then I said, you know what? I can't sustain this, but one day I'm going to put some time into this. I'm going to start a dog treat company. So I kind of added it to my list. Start a dog treat company one day, and not knowing anything about it other than, you know, loving dogs. And so while I was working with Venus, and she's like, Barb, I need you to move to Florida. And I'm like, V, this is where I get off the train. I can't move to Florida because, you know, we had a home here, you know, in Jersey, and, you know, we had already moved to Europe. So I'm good. Right. And so I decided before I wanted to take on a new client, I'm like, I'm going to start that dog treat company. And it was very exciting for me because I didn't know anything about it, and it required a lot. It required research. So I spent like a year just researching what it was I wanted to do, because it wasn't sustainable for me to continue to hand bake these treats. Right. And I said, well, if I'm going to get into the Walmarts of the world, I'm going to need to find a product that it could readily be made, right? So I just started to think about research. Okay, so what are the top of the line types of dog treat products? What are premium products? And so I fell on freeze-dried dog treats. And I'm like, freeze-dried? Wow, I've never given my dog freeze-dried treats before. So I just started to do a lot of research. And I said, all right, well, if I'm going to do freeze-dried treats, I need to find one that is truly top of the line. So I ended up finding this incredible family who actually sell the larger part. They're like a grass-fed. Their cattle is grass-fed. Their cattle and their chicken is grass-fed. And so they, I contacted them, and they're like, wow, we never really considered, you know, freeze drying our beef liver and our chicken liver. And I'm like, would you freeze dry it for me? So, you know, it took a lot of research and everything. And so we finally got our groove. And I started the business, and I've just been, you know, marketing it like crazy. Now we're going into like our third year, and we're an Amazon Choice product. And, you know, Lick You Silly is now we're a part of their brand registry on Amazon, which is, you know, you've got to be in business for a couple of years in order for them to do that. You've got to have a trademark. So yeah, so we're a part of the brand registry. We're also the pet amenity for 8 Kimpton hotels. And so when people come to the hotels, they get our dog treats when they bring their dogs. Because Kimpton, they did a really big push around people bringing their dogs. So a lot of people are traveling with they were traveling with their dogs, and a lot of dogs are emotional support dogs. So, you know, a lot of hotels started to really embrace people coming with their pets to the hotels and things like that. And so the Kimpton, we were the pet amenity for 8 Kimpton hotels. So that's really exciting. And we're in 21 smaller retailers, and, you know, we're growing. We're growing.
That is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing. I have to get me. I have my uncle has a Yorkie.
Okay.
He eat whatever. He don't even care at this point. He just eats whatever. I would get some for him. His boyfriend has his brother has a dog, but he has a rock mixed with a pit. But she's just so loving, and she loves treats. So yeah, get some for them and see how they react. Do a video with something.
Oh, please do. I mean, let me tell you, people say to me, Barb, I don't know what's in these dog treats, but my dog, it's like dog crack. So, you know, I mean, it's a really good product. And I say to people, it's the difference between, you know, you buying a steak that might come from, like, you know, where most of us shop, like the Shop and Stop or, some of these regular grocery stores and buying a steak that might come from a Whole Foods, because we know that steak from Whole Foods is really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my meat is really premium, and it's clean. It doesn't have any preservatives. It doesn't have any grains, no synthetics, hormones. It's a great quality piece of meat, and dogs really love it.
Yes, I'm definitely. Yeah. So I'm sure your career and even from the past until now, I'm sure you have come across a lot of different successes in your life. So can you tell our viewers what your definition of success is, and then let us know what maybe your biggest success is, and it can be personal or business related.
Yeah, I mean, my idea of success is, and I have to tell you, like, I had a situation that happened to me a couple of years ago, and I realized wealth took on a different scenario for me. Mm-hmm. And I realized that wealth is the ability to make decisions based on how you need to make that decision, and not based on the situation that you might be in, right? And so, I think, success is just finding that thing that you can get up and do every single day and not get paid for it, right? To me, that's how you find your passion.
Yes.
Right. And if you could figure out how to take that and get paid for it, then you're definitely onto something. Right. But I think, success for me is it's freedom. It's freedom to be able to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, with the people that I want to do it with. And I don't know if that sounds shallow or not, but
no,
that for me, I mean, it's just really important that I be able to march to my own drum and make the moves that I want to make, and have, the capital to be able to do that, the revenue to be able to do that, right?
That's true, definitely. You definitely. I always tell people, of course, when you're in business, even in your personal life, every new level of life you go requires a different stuff. Mm-hmm. So, I wouldn't expect somebody, even though they're probably, for someone to be the same person for a year ago.
Yes.
So that's definitely true, because everybody cannot come along with you on your, like you said, you have the freedom to do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You can involve whomever you like, and at certain parts of your life, you can involve Keisha, and then maybe 10 years later, Keisha's not there.
Right. Yeah.
Always up to the individual, but that's what it is. It's always is more than the money, because money can be today and then going tomorrow. So,
it can be, but here's, what, I love this quote from Prince. Prince said, money doesn't buy you love, but it sure does help in the journey. Right?
I love Prince. He's Prince.
Yes. And I was like, oh my God, that is so true. Like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't, money doesn't buy you happiness. Money buys you freedom.
Yeah.
It just buys you freedom. And there's something to be said about that.
Absolutely. So let's do this question. If you can tell young Barb, you can give her one piece of advice, what would you tell her?
Piece of advice for young Barb? Ask for more. Ask for more. No is not negative. In my mind, no just means not right now.
Mm-hmm.
And ask for what you want. Seize the opportunity, whatever it is, and ask for what you want, and don't hesitate.
That's good.
Yeah.
Talking about no on the podcast I did, and they were like, we love this no. So I was always telling people, like, it's okay to say no to things. Everybody is not your, like you said, everybody is not your. We have to be able to learn how to eliminate money, because you don't want the headache. You can already sense it, probably have, but every opportunity is not the opportunity. Yes, no means next opportunity. Yes, that's what I told them.
Yeah, yeah.
Other opportunities come from other people, other businesses, other things, other places. You just never know. So because you might have said, "Oh no, this opportunity," doesn't mean a month from now something even bigger and better may come. So you just always have to stay on the up and up. I mean, of course, we can get upset, you know, because something didn't go our way or someone said no, but showing them that you're the best at what you do. So then they can second guess and be like, you know what, let's reach back out to them. And
Yep.
we can work something out. So yeah, that's perfect advice for not even just for, but just for everybody. You know?
Yep. Yep.
So what is one resource that you every single day? It can be a resource, a thing that you cannot live without.
Fiverr. Do you know Fiverr.com? Fiverr. Love Fiverr. I cannot live without Fiverr.
Gosh. Then what are you using Fiverr for?
Everything. Like I've used Fiverr to do videos. I use Fiverr for grant writing. I've used them for graphics, for animated GIFs, for my website, for packaging design, for logo design. I use Fiverr for everything. For Shopify, for YouTube. I mean, I have a really good list of folk on Fiverr that I use all the time.
Yeah, I use it too. I use it
Do you
especially
really?
for when I do like my audio for my podcast. I
Yeah.
use the same guy. His name is.
Yep.
I use Danny for everything. Like all my podcasts, audio, he fixes me up and
Yep.
it's me good to go when it's time to air. So yeah, I definitely use Fiverr. No shade to Fiverr. Now I have trash from Fiverr. Yes,
Yeah.
but like you said, you have to, you know, if you constantly use somebody,
You got to go through and I had to kiss a lot of frogs before I got to the people that I use. And, I mean, the person who handles my social media is from Fiverr, and he's been handling my social media for, 2 years now. And the guy who does my ad sales for Amazon, he's on Fiverr. And, sometimes people get caught up that they're not in this country, but I'm like, I mean, as long as they're good people and they're doing the quality of work that I expect,
right?
And they're respectful, and we're good. We're good.
I love it. Love it. Can you tell us about any, any upcoming projects?
So, I always have upcoming projects, right? I'm always like trying something new. So I actually, I'm going to be launching in the fall my own YouTube channel. So it's not going to be about my dog treats. It's not going to be about my design, but I really just want to talk to, well, I mean, I guess it is tied back to my dog treats, but I really want to talk to people who have great stories about their dogs.
Okay.
And yeah, because initially I was working on that for a television show. But I said, you know what, I'm going to go and do it as a YouTube channel. So I'll be working on that. And I'm actually launching 5 new products in the next few weeks. So I'm really psyched about that, because my goal is that I want to get into some major retailers. Like I want to get in the Targets of the world. And, I'll be on Walmart's marketplace. So I'll be on Walmart.com, and I just, I want to get into some bigger, grocery store, the Krogers of the world, So I'm really working to try to create some product that can get me at price points that make sense for those kinds of retailers. So I've got some products that I'm launching, and I'm new to TikTok, so I'm really excited about TikTok. So I have a TikTok channel. I haven't posted anything yet for Miss Lick You Silly Pet Products, and I created a TikTok channel. I'm going to create a TikTok channel for the little orange dog that's on my packaging,
Mm-hmm.
and but he has his own Instagram. So I've just kind of launched his own Instagram, The Secret Life of Yum Yum Rockstar. You know, because my husband and I, we made that little orange dog out of some newspaper and some CVS bags and some Elmer's glue and some toilet paper. So we created this cute little dog, and you know, so I'm gonna put him into some TikTok videos, and he's got his own Instagram. So you know, I'm always looking for talented people who create great content. You
Right.
know, I'm always looking for new content and always looking. I just want to do things different. Like I don't want to be your traditional dog treat company. You know, I'm really, my goal is to be a lifestyle dog treat company because people's dogs are such an integral part of their life.
Yes.
You know, it's so, I mean, these are, oftentimes if people don't have children, these dogs are like their children, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, so I really want to find, you know, fun and engaging ways to entertain and engage, you know, my customers.
That is awesome. I can't wait for all of this stuff. Like, I'm just so excited about that. And, are you gonna do anything for cats? Because I got a cat that act like a real human being.
wait, am I gonna do anything for what?
For cats.
For cat? What?
For a cat.
Oh no! Our dog for we do have treat. Our treats are for cats. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we have most people who have a cat, they buy our chicken treats.
Gotcha. That's
yes.
Not
Yes. So sorry about that. Yeah. So our treats are for dogs and for cats, but primarily cats. Cats and small dog eat our chicken because it's super soft and crumbly.
Okay.
And you know, bigger dogs, like our this best-selling product on Amazon is our freeze-dried beef liver.
Okay. All right, so I get the beef liver for the big and the chicken for the little.
That is correct. But I will send you samples. It's fine.
Because my cat, she be around here prancing around like a little queen, and she just do what she do. But she wants to be like royalty. She likes, you know, likes ice in her water. You know, she's.
I love that.
And she like scoops her water up with her hand, with her paw.
Oh, that's so cute.
She's bougie. She's so bougie. But yeah, so I'm so excited. So can you tell our viewers how they can contact you or keep up with everything that you're doing?
So I have my my Instagram, my personal Instagram, and my Facebook page is Barbara Clark Ruiz. I don't have that many followers on Instagram because my Instagram was just for me, right? But on my Instagram page for my dog treats, which is Lick You Silly Yum Yum, we have quite a few followers there. And so yeah, follow us on there, and you can follow us on Facebook at Lick You Silly Pet Products. We're on Pinterest at Lick You Silly Pet Products, and you know, and on TikTok, Lick You Silly Pet Products, YouTube. So between Lick You Silly Pet Products and Lick You Silly Yum Yum, you can find us.
Yeah. Everybody on here said yes. Jan said pets are people too. Yes, they are. I'm convinced that my cat is from a past life because he be really in here like an old lady.
Yeah.
Pet said, yes, they do. Yes, yeah. All of this, y'all, it's all true, y'all. Everything is true.
Yeah. I can't wait for your cat to get some treats.
She probably gonna be here going crazy. She was just in here laying on my feet. She like every time she knows I'm on a live, she knows the FaceTime ring. So she knows like, oh, now it's time to jump on the bed or find where she is so I can be in the camera too. Yeah, she's like a celebrity. People come to my house whenever I'm doing it, how my cat doing.
What? What's your cat's name?
Kitty. Her name is Kitty. Miss Kitty.
Got it. Well, I can't wait to send her some treats. So you can send me some video and we can chuckle about how she's gonna be so in love with my dog treats. Yeah. So you can't tell her they're dog treats. You'll just she might read the package because she's so smart. So you'll have to tell her.
So before we go, can you give our viewers one piece of advice in regards to bossing up, not just but also in life?
I mean, okay, so I think what COVID has taught us all is life is short. We knew it was short before, but we really know it's short. And this opportunity has provided us the time to really think about what our passion is. Like, what is it that we want to do? And I want people to know that and a lot of people, you know, they're in furlough and their offices closed and companies went out of business. So this is a time to figure out, like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do? Where do you want to see yourself in the next 10 years? What is that business that you can start now? You can always go back and get a full-time job, but now you got a side gig that you can work at the same time.
Right.
So while you're working that side gig, you're growing it. So eventually it can become your full-time job, right? And so I want people to think about, what is it that you would like? What is that thing that's been gnawing at you for you to say, God, you know, I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to do that. And, you know, like, do it. And the way that I do when I'm interested in starting something fresh, the way that I do, I write everything down. I make a list. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes I'll start the list backwards, right? So start where you want to finish. And what happens to what are the steps that need to happen to get you to where you are now? And so then you kind of have this working list. And sometimes when I'm on my list, I'll put stuff on the list that wasn't on the list just so I can cross it off, right? But then every single day, move the needle on whatever that goal is. I don't care what it is. If you needed to make one phone call or send one email, but spend at least an hour or two every day on your business, and it will absolutely get to where you want it to be. But nobody can get it there if you don't.
I know that was good.
Yep.
That was good.
All on you.
That was a good piece of advice, but that's so true. You do, like you said, COVID has really put us in a space where we be thinking about these kind of things. Thinking about that, like, you know, kind of hobby, or if being during this whole quarantine situation, you have to learn how to be financial. You know, everybody should be during this whole process, and of course, we don't even know when it's over, so it's going to continue a learning process.
Right.
Yeah, everybody, just continue to stay positive, continue to, you know, love your loved ones, you know, reach out to those individuals that you have not even been able to talk to. It's killing me on the inside. My great grandmother was in facility, and I haven't been able to speak with her, you know.
Oh, wow.
Tired. So, you know, continue to keep everybody. We can get through this. We can get through it.
Yeah, we don't have a choice, right? It's just giving us a new perspective and a different. It's our new normal.
Yep.
Right. And so there are some positives in it. I mean, obviously there's negatives, clearly, but there's some positives in it too.
Yes.
And just try to find those positives and just focus on that. Focus on the good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to thank you so much for being here. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. For those who are here, make sure that you chime in next Monday. Coming back with Jill. She is the founder and the creator of Grief Book Podcast. She talks about grieving and loss, and she's an advocate for being a life communicator. So make sure you guys are on here next Monday, because I'm sure that's going to be able to talk about some things, especially with everything that's going on with the COVID. You know, despite the people that we have lost, you know, through our lives, but now the people that, even if we're not even physically attached to these people, you're still hurting because families can't grieve the way they should, and you know, all of this stuff. So make sure you guys
check in with people, right? Just
absolutely
just check in, because you know it's hard for people to admit, like, mental illness is truly an illness, and it's hard for people to admit when they having problems, you know, struggling and coping. You know, so just check in with friends that you know that might live by themselves, you know, and just, I mean, I haven't, I mean, I geo all, Google Duo all of my friends, like on a regular basis. I just check in with them and just, you know, see how everybody's doing.
So important.
Yeah.
So it was fun, Barb. Some treats. Excited now.
I'm gonna get you the treat, so you have to PM me your address. I'll get them to you. I'll send them to you this week.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in today with Barb, who talks to you everything about, from design to yum treats. Okay? And I hope everybody continues Have an amazing day on purpose. See y'all.
Bye.
See ya.